What is up, guys? Welcome, Crypto FUD. And let's jump right into this, guys. What is going on? Happy Friday. Hope you guys are having a fantastic day. Hope you guys got away from the charts for a little while. Hope you guys are having a great week. Getting into this weekend. We got Halloween coming up. My boy Ricky's in the house. What is going on? And your name's green again. Love it. What's going on, brothers and sisters? I'm here. I know it's been a week since I've streamed, but I'm still here, guys. Let's just do this. We're not going to be here for too long because I know Ricky's got to get to happy hour soon. So let's just fly through this real quick. Go over some stuff. We're going to stay bullish and why I think this week coming up is going to be probably a massive, massive week for us. Hopefully, it's a massive week in the direction that we're all looking for. So jumping in right now, Bitcoin sitting at around 110,700. Obviously, you guys know we got the CPI report today. Let me see if we actually have those numbers right now. Let me see. They might have gotten rid of them on TradingView. They did, but we can pull them up another. I have something else we can pull them up on. But as of today, I'm sure you guys already know. Earlier this morning, we had the CPI report. So basically, what happened was everything came in under forecast, right? Meaning inflation. Inflation came in as of last month a tick under, pretty much year over year, month over month. Core inflation, everything came over either right at expectation or it came right under expectation. This right here is a big thing, guys, because this right here is what's going to give the Feds more ammunition for them to reduce interest rates coming up in literally a few days from now, next week coming up. That's why this week that's coming up is going to be such a big week for us, because we do have the FOMC meeting with Jerome Powell. We did see him talk, what was it, a few weeks back, and he was pretty dovish in regards to really just staying on track and most likely seeing 2 more rate cuts for the rest of this year. You guys already know why is this such a big deal? Because when rate cuts get reduced or start to come down, risk on assets will start to move up, aka stock market, obviously Bitcoin, crypto, a lot of things like that. So very, 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 very important for us to see these rate cuts, especially the weeks that we've been having really in crypto. It's time. It really is time. And I'm going to show you guys some things, what I think as far as with Bitcoin particularly, and the market's going to follow behind it, why I think we're setting up for a big run coming up here. Probably already started, if not starting this weekend, next week coming up. So again, like I said, Bitcoin right now sitting at around 110,700. The market is actually about to close in about 9 minutes, so we're going to be able to check that out live. But what I wanted to point out was I shared this in the Discord earlier today and yesterday. This is really not even the chart, but the MACD, right? The MACD on the daily. You guys can see pretty much we have gone through a massive reset where you can see we are definitely in oversold territory. Every time that we've gotten below this support level, you can see we bounced off of it plenty of times and gone on runs, but every time that we've gone below it, usually tends to mean that we're going to see some kind of a big run ahead of us, right? It could be a big run and then a big dump. I don't know if that's going to happen. I don't think it is, but the point of what I'm getting to is with the daily, which is a lagging indicator on the daily, the MACD, it is indicating that we probably are going to see some kind of a big move with this indicator flashing, basically letting us know that everything's been reset. We are in that oversold territory. We've been in oversold territory, and it looks like we're going to probably start seeing some more momentum towards the upside as we get into most likely next week. Now, this isn't written in stone, but it usually tends to run like that. Like I said, we've seen plenty of times where, just like if you go back to the end of August, we saw a dump down to about 107. Look where we were at on the MACD. Pretty much the same exact area, actually a little bit higher, right? And what followed behind that was we ran up to about 118,000. Yes, it was short-lived. That's why I say doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to be on a run and we're going to stay on a run, but it usually tends to mean that we're in oversold territory and we're probably going to see some kind of a move towards the upside usually coming that's going to follow. So Ethereum, a big thing right here. Ethereum's been really holding some support at a good level here, right at the 236. 236 is around that 3,700 37.92 area. You can see we broke below, obviously, a couple times this past week, but it looks like on the daily we keep closing above the 236 and actually finding support at this trend line that we've had, right? We talked about this trend line before Ethereum even broke out. We were talking about this trend line when Ethereum was at $2,000 a few months back. This is that dreaded trend line that we've had for the last few years. You can see we actually have had that as support. On top of that, the 236, which usually is very bullish. 236, we get that support, and it tends to mean that you're going to see some highs coming, and I wouldn't be surprised, especially with some kind of a double bottom or a W pattern that looks like it's slightly formed on the daily. So, like I said, today, we're going to keep it bullish. I'm going to keep it bullish. We're not going to deal with any of that bearish stuff. I feel like it has been hard. It's been hard for all of us, right? It's been hard for me to even come out and start streaming when just these days are just like, they're just horrendous, right? You see a little bit of a pump, and then we see a big dump, right? But I'm gonna show you guys something real quick. Happy Friday. I am sipping on some rum and coke right now. Gonna start my night up after this stream. So let's just jump right into this. So you guys remember that big thing that happened, August the 10th, where there was like $20 billion liquidated from the market. Remember that little thing that happened, right? Well, the mysterious whale. We all have our speculations on who it could be, but that mysterious whale that opened up all those shorts, right? Just minutes before the dump. Best trader has now officially, as of yesterday, closed all their shorts. They've closed all their shorts. Why is this big? Because I told you, follow the big money. We actually talked about this on the member stream a few days back. We talked about this. I said, guys, listen, I'm going to stay bullish, obviously, but I'm not going to get too ahead of ourselves, even if we see any kind of little moves towards the upside, until we really start getting word that a lot of this big money, these whales that have shorts open, they're closing them. And the biggest one of all has closed them, right? This guy has a success rate of 100% as of right now. So some people say he might be an insider. We don't know, right? At this point, I really don't care anymore. I'm just, like I said, if you can't beat him, you got to join him, right? And this is what we're doing. We're following him. So as of yesterday, Arc Ham, I encourage you guys to follow them on Twitter. Basically, they indicated that the $10 billion hyper unit whale that has fully closed all their shorts. And it's weird, they say they closed all his shorts. Like they know exactly who the person is, but who knows. But they basically are fully out of the market as of yesterday as far as opening shorts or having short leverage positions open. Why is this big? Because this particular wallet has been literally opening up shorts before we dump, or they've been opening up shorts and letting them sit there while the markets have been pretty shitty, Now that they've closed their shorts, it's again, just like with the MACD, right? Nothing is written in stone, but these are indicators when you start seeing big money, especially something like this, the person that opened up shorts right before we dumped, best trader of all, has closed their shorts, usually indicates that either they know something or they can see that the markets are most likely about to be turning back over towards the green and towards the upside. And I can only point towards usually something like this where we have the Fed rate, the FOMC meeting coming up in technically 5 days from now, and we have about a 96.7% probability of the market seeing some kind of a reduction in interest rates, calling for somewhere around looks like probably a 25 basis point reduction. You do see this just popped up, I think yesterday or today, where 3% of the market saying that there might be a pause, and you're like, what the hell are they talking about? Why would we see any kind of percentage calling for some kind of a pause? Well, it actually does make sense in a way. Unfortunately, the government is still shut down, right? Remember, we don't get into politics or anything like that on here. It's just all about money. But unfortunately, this does kind of intertwine. The government is shut down as of now, right? It's been shut down for like a month, I believe, something like that. But See, like today, the CPI report came out. They've had this data since last month before the shutdown happened, right? But next month's data is, we already know we're not going to get it. We're not going to get it, right? Because this month it's been shut down. You get what I'm saying? All the data that they're getting for the CPI report technically comes a month prior. We're not going to be getting it for next month. Why does that mean anything? Well, this could potentially give Powell a reason to be like, listen, we're working blind here. We don't know what's going on. We're going to go ahead and just pause for right now until the government opens back up and until we can get, the data that we need just to confirm that we can start reducing, or we can continue to reduce rates. That is a big possibility, guys. It really is. So I think since we got the CPI report for today, I think this meeting coming up, we're pretty much solid as far as a reduction in interest rates that quarter. But going into December, it is going to be rough. I'm going to tell you it's going to be rough because, and this is December, you can see as of now, this is going to fluctuate. 92% right now are calling for some kind of reduction. Jerome Powell could be given, and you know this guy, how he works. You give him any opportunity to not reduce rates, and he will take it. And this could be his opportunity to kind of kick the can down the road. So hopefully we don't see that. Hopefully we just, we continue to see, because they're throwing us crumbs anyway right now. We're getting little 0.25%, reductions. It's not like it's really moving the market much, but like I've told you guys since the first reduction last month, these will start to add up and the markets will start, considering them a lot more versus that first time that we got that 0.25% reduction. If you guys remember the market, we had a decent day, but the following day it was just, we went to shit, and we've been like that since, right? It really didn't matter whatsoever, but even if they just give us 0.25% pretty much every meeting, it's going to add up, to where in 4 months from now, 4 months from now, we're at 125 basis point reduction from where we started. So, it is what it is. We'll take it, right? We will take it as of now. Anything that can help us move up right now, and really it's really just building up the confidence. I said this last week, whenever we went through that big freaking liquidation, it was the building the confidence back up in the market. It's going to take some time. And that's what we've seen, that's what we're seeing. It's been 2 weeks since, that happened. And you can see the markets are finally, I don't want to say finally, but they're starting to look like they want to just start moving again, and you're going to start seeing money start coming back in. We've been kind of just stagnant for the last, 10 days? Ricky said, I'm going to remind you again, Toshi time. I agree with you. Jay, what's going on, bro? Said, yo, what's going on, Crip? What's going on, guys? I'm so sorry I have not been here for the last week. You guys know I'm here, right? I'm in the Discord and stuff like that. I just have not had the momentum, the motivation to, stream during this last, week. It's just been, I've been keeping myself busy with other stuff, I've been bro, I obviously all day I'm charts, I told you guys this a week ago, really before we took this little break, was I'm just, right now you're getting a golden opportunity. If you still are bullish in the market, you're getting a beautiful opportunity to just accumulate, right? We saw this past couple weeks where some of these meme coins are down so bad, right? But they're going to bounce, right? And we're going to point out a couple right now, but just some of them so down, so bad that they're going to bounce at some point. You're most likely going to see when the markets rebound, we're probably going to see a quick 2x on a lot of these meme coins where they're just going to jump up a 2x. I already had my mask. Let me just see before I even start talking where they are right now. Mask, yeah, it's up 57, 56% today. It's already 2x or 1x, I'm sorry, today. The markets haven't even really rebound, but this thing, Mask, that's on Solana, you guys know I'm always talking about this thing, right? We were in the gutter, and we're not even that far from it, so it's I don't even want to talk about it. But, we were so down to where we're at, we went down from a $20 million market cap down to $1.8 million, literally $1.8 million. So, we've almost 2x'd from where we were at, from the bottom. And I'm anticipating it's probably going to have a little bit of a cool off because the last 2 days we've moved up, 60+%, but some of these meme coins, And I'm glad to see, you guys can see on my list, on my DeFi list, there's a lot of green. This has been, I'm not even talking like red. It's been like just like brutally red, where I wasn't even looking at my portfolio. It got so bad, the last couple of days, I was like, I'm just not even going to look at my portfolio, because it was like making me start to second guess, like, shit. I'm like, should I continue to buy? Or I was like, what is going on, bro? This market is just like, it's so shitty, Ricky was saying Toshi time. Well, this is Toshi's chart. I'm going to talk about this here in a second. Gene said, yo, what do you think Tom Lee said Bitcoin's going to 200K by the end of 2025? Gene, you are correct, bro. You are correct. Tom Lee, that's one person that we've been following a lot on the channel, but I personally have really been following him because I have a lot of money in the S&P, right? And I've been really holding to pull the trigger on taking out, money out of the S&P. And because I'm like, bro, it keeps making highs, right? It keeps making all-time. Today it made an all-time high. We'll pull up the chart, and I'm still, to the point where this is the S&P chart right here. You can see today we made a new high. I think 68.5. Yeah, it's 68.6. We'll mark that. You can see the market's opened up great today with that CPI report like we talked about earlier. But the point I'm getting to, and Gene brings this up, thank you, Gene, for bringing this up, brother, is Tom Lee. He's been someone that I've been kind of following myself. We've been following him on the channel a lot. He's calling for, $200,000 Bitcoin. He's calling for what he actually said like a month or two ago, that he wouldn't be surprised if Ethereum gets close to $15,000 by the end of the year. I know that sounds far-fetched because we literally have 2 months until the end of the year. But I think what you need to take from it, not the numbers, but the bullishness of it, right? And I say take his word. I would take his word. Obviously you take every word with a grain of salt, but I would take his word because they technically own billions of dollars worth of Ethereum as of now, and they continued to buy. They continued to buy while we were going through these dips, right? They were buying. Saylor was buying. A lot of these big whales were buying. Obviously, we saw a lot of whales that were doing hedges. I'm sorry, not hedges, but leverage trading, taking those quick gains, the shorts, while we were going through a lot of this volatility. But the people, the institutions that are long-term, they were buying. They were taking advantage of these dips, buying and just letting it be. And that's pretty much what I was indicating on our members-only stream on Sunday. And for the last 2 weeks, I've been saying the same thing. I was like, listen, if you're not day trading, and you're just accumulating right now, which that's pretty much what I've been doing. I haven't really been day trading at all. I've been just really accumulating while we've been down so much, because it's all going to eventually pay off like I was day trading, right? It's just accumulate whatever you're bullish on, right? If it's Toshi, if it's, freaking just whatever you're bullish on, you've had such a great opportunity. I know we've been beat down, and it's like, bro, we've been going through this for 12 months now, where it's just up and down, up and down, up and down. But really the alts right now, alts are at such good prices that it's just like, why not? Why wouldn't you take it? You know what happens every time. We get these resets in the market, and what happens at some point, it's not overnight, but at some point what happens, the market will start to pop back up. And even if you're short term, anything that you bought this last week, these last 2 weeks, you're eventually at some point, I wouldn't be surprised on, depending on what you bought, you 2, 3, 4x, just what you bought in the last 2 weeks as far as price. Because I'm, like I keep saying, I'm anticipating a lot of these, especially these meme coins and alts too. But they're going to you're going to see these quick 50, 60, 70% days where they're just going to jump up and really just get back to the numbers that we were just at, a month or two ago. So, what's going on, Bill? Flips in the house. What's going on, bro? Jay said, add to the bags while we can. Exactly. Ricky said, we'll be ripping soon enough. I agree with you. So Ricky was talking about Toshi. I bring this up, Toshi, as well, because, we talked about this a few weeks ago, and I said, Toshi seemed like it was a little bit more bullish. More bullisher, if that's even a word, than Brett, right? And Toshi and Brett, if you're not familiar, are on the Base ecosystem, right? Coinbase's DeFi base, right? And since it started, pretty much Brett's been the biggest meme coin that's on Base. Well, Toshi took over. And I said this a while back. I said, you know what? At the time, I was like, Toshi has a smaller market cap, which it doesn't now. Now it has a bigger market cap than Brett. But it just seems like it was doing a lot more momentum, a lot better, just structure, support, and you can see, even to this day, even going through all those big dips that we've seen with meme coins have been absolutely decimated. And you can see this thing is still holding an upward trend on the charts here. So Toshi, I do believe $300 million market cap. I swear I can talk. $300 million market cap, not a bad price right now, given that just last week it was at like 400. So you can see a nice little 20% dip. And Brett as well. Where is Brett? Brett? Oh, there he is. Brett's actually having a decent day today, though. I'm not going to lie. But look at this. Market cap's at 267. Brett used to be at what? Half a billion? It's basically dropped down almost a half, 50% in market cap. And you can see through the charts, they just look so much different, right? Brett had that upward trend, and then you can see it broke. So I don't think that Brett's over with whatsoever. I mean, as of right now, you might even see Brett might even be a better play right now than Toshi, just because it has a smaller market cap. It technically has higher volume, and it's at a spot where it probably nice little W pattern looks like it's trying to form down here, Ricky, where you might see a nice little explosion on Brett. Who knows? Another one, Farcoin, right? Been pointing this out for a while. I don't own any Farcoin, but I was like very tempted when it dropped down to like 30 cents, 32 cents. Right now it's at 37. But this is another one. And when I was looking at my meme coin that I particularly own, Mask, it was doing so bad. And I was like, fuck, man. I was like, good God, it's doing so bad. But I would look, I'd look at some of the bigger meme coins, right? That are going to survive all this shit, and they're going to do well. Something like Farcoin, that was at $1 billion not too long ago. It's at 374 million. Farcoin was going through it too, where it was just like no movement, bad. The prices, depending on how you look at it, these are good entries. But if you bought, way up here, you're probably in a bad mood because, Farcoins drop down like crazy. But the point of what I'm getting to is I was like, it's not my particular meme coin that I'm buying. It's all meme coins, right? It's all meme coins. It's the whole market's doing bad right now. So, you know what? I believe that we're going to see a bounce. We're going to get back up and running. Ultra going to do their things. Meme coins are going to go freaking crazy at some point, and I just let it be. That was what motivated me to continue to buy some of these particular projects that were just brutally down in the last couple of weeks. So Ricky said that $20,000 dump will seem like child's play when we rip to the upside. I agree 100%. So let's just jump in here real quick. So inflation to set up Bitcoin melt up as rates to fall to 2.75% by next October. So they're basically saying, and if we pull this up right now, rates technically, as of right now, current target rate right now is at 4.25%, right? They're basically saying that we're going to drop about 125 basis points in the next year, is what they're saying, right? And like I said earlier, Fed reduce rates, risk on assets always go up, right? So, and that's what's crazy is, and you're like, Crip, well, what about the 4-year cycle? I know Flip is literally thinking that right now, like, what about the 4-year cycle? Bro, like I said, we plan for the 4-year cycle, but if we're extended and we go farther, so be it, right? So be it. That means you're stuck with me for another year, Flip. That's all it means, all right? So just reading this, so U.S. inflation ticked up to 3% year over year in September, and future markets still priced a Federal Reserve rate cut next week. Headline CPI printed at 3% on the year and 0.3% on the month, while core CPI held at 3% year over year and a 0.2% month over month. Gasoline rose 4.1% on the month, and shelter inflation stayed near 3.6%. The Bureau of Labor Statistics published on schedule to meet Social Security cost of living timelines despite the shutdown backdrop. I'm just reading this real quick. So, I mean, pretty much like I said, same thing like I said a little while ago, right? The main thing of all this gibberish is when you see the Feds reducing rates, usually the stock market and risk on assets will usually tend to do the inverse, right? They will move up, just like we saw when the Feds were increasing rates. That's basically during the bear market. You know, the last or 2 years ago, 3 years ago, the market was obviously in a bear market. The Feds were increasing rates, so we have the opposite basically occurring. And they also said that their quantitative easing, right? Their tightening is pretty much over, and now they're going to start easing, meaning they're going to, there's just going to be a lot more money out there. A lot more people are going to be able to take out loans for a lot cheaper. There's going to be a lot more money circulating the economy, which always tends to, like I said, find its way into risky assets, and that's why you'll see the markets will usually benefit from all this. So, looking at the bubbles for today, you can see on the daily, pretty much green across the board. There are some reds around here, but it looks like things are trying to maybe rebound. I'm not necessarily sold on it yet, right? These 10%, they're cool, but we're like so beat down on all these projects that all these projects will need to run up like 50-60% for them just to get back to where we were at the beginning of the month. So for you, good buying opportunity, right? Very much good buying opportunity in my opinion. So nice green across the board. Actually, if you look at the week, a lot of these projects, Zcash obviously been one of the outliners, up 15%. Virtual protocols up 24%. This Chain Opera AI is up 27%. Pump's doing pretty good. Morpho, whatever that is up 16%. So, I mean, across the board, everything looks good, even for the weekly. What's crazy is for the month, we're in the green. That doesn't make sense, but look at this for the month. Zcash up 300% for the month. That's crazy. But look at these. Look at some of these numbers. Like I said, a lot of these alts will need to see 30, 40, 50% moves towards the upside just to get back to where we were at, But I look at it as you're buying right now. If you're buying Fetch AI, you're buying at 55% discount, right? So if and when this thing just jumps right back up to where it was last month, you're already up 55% in the green, So definitely, because I have people hitting me up. They're like, Crip, what are some good buys right now? I'm like, bro, just freaking get a dice, put 6 projects on the dice and freaking roll the dice and just buy whatever it says. Although, because everything's down, everything's a buying opportunity right now, pretty much, in this market that we're in. So, let me see here. Other than that, you guys can obviously see Q4, we're in the red for right now. October, we are slightly in the red. We're down 3.1%. But look at these greens. Look at these previous years of the markets. You guys can see nothing but green. There's only been, other than what we're in right now, because this month hasn't ended, there's only been 2 red months in October of all of crypto's history for Bitcoin. Think about that. Only 2 years out of 12 years. So statistically speaking, right, a red month can happen at any time, but normally October usually is a solid month. I will tell you this, if we end, which is in 7 days this month, and even if we're at like down 1, 2, 3%, whatever it is, I think November is going to be a friggin' month that's going to go under the record books, in my opinion. I really do. I think November is going to be a month that's going to go into the record books as far as how much the market's recovered and how much we pump. That's my opinion, right? And I'm sticking to it. So October, it is what it is. We have 7 days to turn into the green, but I think we will. Markets closed 17 minutes ago. S&P right under its all-time high. NASDAQ as well, up 1%. Dow Jones 1% up. You can see Bitcoin starting to move towards the upside again after the markets. Usually we get that Friday sell-off, in the markets and stuff like that. So as soon as the markets closed, Bitcoin started to move back up I'm curious to see what this weekend brings, just because we do have the FOMC meeting coming up in 4 days, technically 5 days from now, right? So I mean, we'll see how this weekend stacks up as far as if we start maybe one of those weekends where Sunday comes in, futures are in the green as far as stock market, and we see some solid inbounds coming in as far as for crypto. So, but we'll take it. XRP's up almost 5% today. ICP's up about 3%. Fetch AI is up 6%. That's one of the projects I just called out at 26 cents for Fetch AI. I'm going to come back and tell you guys, bro, I called that. I called it. I've called it before when Fetch AI was at 15 cents and it ran up to $3. It's at 26 cents right now, guys. So, like I said, yes, I've been here with you guys. I haven't even been streaming. It's been so flippin'. It's just been so like stick a fork in my eye, right? But it doesn't matter because we always prevail. We always bounce back. It's just a temporary, what we go through. Fear and greed right now. We're in fear, obviously, but we're starting to climb out of that fear, meaning the markets are slowly getting back into neutral. What did I say? I said this 2 weeks ago when we went through all the bullshit. I said it's going to take a few weeks for these markets to really just even slightly start feeling confident again after everything that we went through. After everything we went through, dominance has spiked up for Bitcoin like crazy, which perfectly fine. I personally think, and it hasn't even really spiked up like crazy. It's at that 59 right now. Let's hold this trend for right here. It's at 59 right now. I was honestly expecting it to be a lot higher. But the point of what I'm getting to is I am expecting dominance in November to just crater. I really am. I'm expecting dominance to just crater and we start breaking below what we even hit this 57. I believe we're going to just start seeing a red candle just falling as money just starts flying into altcoins and in these next few weeks into November. So maybe I'm wrong. Who knows? Maybe I'm just too bullish. But it is what it is. I'm betting on it. At no leverage, just spot trading, adding to the bag, right? That's all we can do. Jane said, bro, I keep buying Milady almost at 100 billion. Hell yeah, bro. What's Milady at right now? Milady is up about 1%. I mean, bro, to be honest, I was expecting Milady to be like numbers we have never seen after that drop, because meme coins right now Milady is basically, she's right below her all-time low, right? I always keep this arrow there, right? I always tell you guys to keep this arrow there because that's when I bought into Milady. This was back in 2023, June of 2023. That's when I bought into Milady. Obviously, I don't hold any Milady right now, but that was one of the first times that I bought was at that low. And for 2 years, that was the bottom, right? But you can see we're right at that same spot right here. So maybe that's what Milady needed, a nice reset. And hopefully, bro, you're coming back, Gene, in the next couple weeks, next couple months, and you get a nice, beautiful V-shaped recovery on Milady, bro, and all that pays off. 100 billion. I mean, bro, I'm pretty sure when we started this channel, 100 billion, you were considered a whale, if I'm not mistaken. We might have to start calling you Whale Gene. Whale Gene? Eugene? Whale Gene? It's kind of got a little chime to it, bro. Whale Gene? But hell yeah, bro. I'm right there with you, bro. I was looking at my portfolio on Mask, and I was like, bro, I used to think that a certain number was a lot, and then when I got to where I'm at right now, I'm like, holy shit. They're going to have to put some respect on my name, bro. Arcam's going to be watching my wallet when I go to sell, because that shit's going to go, they're going to be like, oh, he owns 90% of the circulating supply. No, I don't. Not anywhere near it, but you get what I'm saying, bro. I've accumulated so much. That's what I was saying this last week. I was even feeling it where I was like, bro, it was like a money pit. It kept going down and down and down. I'm like, at some point I was like, bro, I bought near the absolute bottom, and I was like, I don't know if I just don't think I'm going to put any more. I was like, this market's got to show me something, Now that it's up 60% and 2 days later, I'm like, fuck, why didn't I put a bunch, why didn't I keep buying? You know, but it is what it is. It is what it is, right, guys? It is what it is, but I'm going to leave you guys off. Again, don't worry about that chart right there. I know it's horrendous. It is absolutely horrendous. But I'm going to leave you guys with this right here, guys. This is the daily. This is the MACD. And like I said, going back, every time we've dropped below this certain spot right here, we have pumped like crazy. And guess what? We've hit that area again. You can see the curvature. You can see where we're about to flip, you know, on the MACD lines right here. And you can see the markets look, it's not written in stone, but they look like they want to start running. We have the FOMC meeting coming up this week. I believe Trump is meeting up with China if he hasn't already. You know, that's the big thing. That was the reason why the markets kind of did what they did, was China's with China back and forth again for the 17th time this year. Hopefully we can get some good news. What do I always tell you guys, right? I don't give a shit what your political view is. I don't care, right? I respect every single one of you guys. You never hear me, like, you know, try to persuade you. I don't care, right? And you're not going to do it to me either, right? But the point I'm getting to is I don't care how you feel about Trump. The one thing I will tell you is the guy, he rates his how he's doing based off the stock market. And now that he's so deep in crypto, probably the crypto market as well, right? He does not want the markets doing bad. He doesn't. So he knows when he puts those tweets out, he knows what's going to happen. But he knows they're probably temporary, and they're going to come to some kind of resolve, and they're going to bounce like they've never bounced before. No Diddy on that one, right? And everything's going to be back up to euphoria and all that good stuff, you know? So, like I said, I don't care about the politics. We know how the guy works. We know how he is. He wants those markets to do well. That's what I'm betting on. So, Ricky said, it's enough to drive you to drink, bro. Cheers, right? But today was a good day. You know, it's Friday, so that's why I was like, you know what? Gonna stopped at the store, got some premium rum. It's got a cork, you know, like the pirates used to drink their rum. You know, not none of that cheap stuff. I was like, we gotta do it big, you know. So, like Trump would say, it's the best rum, right? There's no better rum ever. You know, this is the best rum. So, all right, guys. Well, listen, that's all I'm gonna take from you. That's all the time I'm gonna take. I know it's been short. I will be back daily streaming. I will. I don't care. I'm going to motivate myself. I'll be here. Members, you know, I'm never going to give up on you guys whatsoever as far as our member streams. We're always going to be streaming no matter what. But I will be streaming every single day again. I promise. Especially as these markets start pumping again. So let's get back up and running. Let's go. Let's go. We're going to get back up and running. Everything's going to be good. And we'll party. All right? All right, guys. With that being said, have a fantastic Friday. If you guys are going out, don't drink and drive. Enjoy your family. Enjoy life. It's Friday. You're alive. And you're probably right before one of the biggest pumps that we've ever seen. So be ready. Put a smile on your face. And I'll see you guys either this weekend if you're a member. We'll be back this weekend if you're a member. If not, I'll see you guys this week coming up. We got a big week. All right. Make sure you guys slap that like. If you're new here, watching this after the fact, hit the subscribe button so you can get that instant alert so you can come join us, right? All right. Be safe out there, guys. I'll see you soon.